Hello amazing people, how you doing? My name is Bilikis. It's good to be back again with another tutorial which will be on how to make a cold shoulder A-line dress, and trust me, it's going to be beautiful and it's very easy to make. I already have a sketch of what we are going to be making here, and you can see some ruffles around the cold shoulder. The sleeve depends on your preference. It could be long, it could be short, it could be medium, totally on you. And then it could be made for adults or children. So I will be stating measurement for both adults and children in this video. You can see, you need to stay tuned. And if you are interested in a monthly online classes and the sewing tools you see me use every now and then, use the contact number in the description box below. And then check out my other channel, Pattern Drafting with Bilikis and Bilikis Kitchen. It's time to get to work. Started, you need your fabric, and these are the required measurements for the dress. First, you need your shoulder measurement, 11, because I'm making for a girl between 6 to 7. So just take the measurement. And if you want more information on measurements on kids, please check out my video on how to draft a basic bodice pattern for kids, which I'll put a link in the description box below. So shoulder measurement 11, length of dress 25, half of the armhole 6 inches, bust circumference 26 inches, length of the sleeve is 15 inches. So assuming it is for myself, my shoulder measurement is 17, length of the dress for me could be 40 inches, half of my armhole is 8.5, my bust circumference is 44. Length of my sleeve, it depends if I want it short, long, so you take the measurement for yourself. So I haven't done this now. All I did was to fold a piece of fabric. So I folded into 2 first, then I folded again because I'm cutting both for the back and front. The first thing is the length of the dress, which is 25 plus 1 inch hemming allowance, that makes it 26, which is what I have here, as you can see. The next thing will be to insert the shoulder measurement. Half of the shoulder measurement will be 5.5. Having done that, I'm going to come down by ½ an inch. So after coming down for the shoulder slope, then I'm going to come down here and just measure 2¼ . So the shoulder slope is formed. So the next thing is to just measure 6 inches from there, because so there's no need to add in shoulder seam allowance. 6 inches, which is here. That's good. Just insert the same shoulder measurement of 5.5 here. Then you might be wondering, how did I know the amount of fabric to fold? All I need to do is to use the bust circumference to do that. So since the bust circumference is 26 here, half of that is quarter of that. When you divide it by 4, you'll be having 6.5. So just if you want to add his like extra half to make it free, 7, then add extra 2.5 inches or to 3 to that to form your fold. But I advise you to add maybe up to 4 and so. So for instance, if you are making this for yourself, all you have to do, the length of your dress, after that, insert half of your armhole, make a line, then your shoulder measurements, you follow the same step. Good. The next thing will be to insert the bust measurements. As I've said, it is 26. When you divide that by 4, you have 6.5. Then I want ½ an inch is, that makes it 7. Then for the size seam allowance, you can make, if it is for adults, just add extra 1 inch, but for kids, ½ an inch is fine. So making 7.5. After doing that, I'm just going to take the measurement from there, this 7.5, place it at the end here, 7.5. Then all you have to do is to add extra 2 inches to make it a line. dress is formed. Here you just come up by 3/4 of an inch. That's the whole curve now. Just divide this into two. Here I have 6 divided by 2, that's 3. So for the front armhole, you come in by 1/2 an inch, and the back remains the same. So just go back. This is for the front. So if you're having your normal dress, you just connect it both straight to the shoulder edge. But because this is a cold shoulder, so we need to come in at the shoulder region. So just determine how wide you want it to be. First, you determine the neckline. So I think I'm going to do width 2.5 for the neckline. Then that's the width. So this is 2.5. Good. So after that, I think 2.5 inches is just fine, or 2.25 for the width I want to leave. Or better still, just come in by 3/4 inch from the edge of the shoulder. It's better that way, or 1 inch, between 3/4 to 1 inch from the edge. So this is what you have. So for yourself, at least for adults, you could do with 1.5 to 1 3/4. Yes. So having done that now, I'm just going to connect the armhole now straight to this point. So because the armhole has now shifted in, we are just going to have the same for both the front and the back, because both has been affected because it's a cold shoulder. So this is what we are having now. Now for the neckline, the neck depth, I want it to be, let's say, I could make it the same 2.5 or 2 3/4. If you want it to be high neck, you can make it lower. But for the width, make sure it's not too wide because of the cold shoulder. So that's for the front. Then for the back, I'm just going to come down by 1.5. So this is for the front and the back. So we are good to go. The next thing is to cut it off. First, you cut the back. This is what we have. 2 panels. So I have to remove one, which will be for the back. So this is going to be for the back. So, but in case you are having a zipper at the back, you won't want to cut it this way. First, you have to cut the front panel, then place it on the folded fabric, and then leave 1 inch for the zipper allowance. But because I want to have a button, that is why I just cut this actually. So I haven't done that now. So this will be for the back. Now for the front, I have to finish the neckline. This is the front and this is the back. The back is higher than the front. So for the back, we need to add a slit there. So at that point, you just determine how long you want it to be. For adults, you can make it 5 inches. So for this kid, I can just make it 3.5. So at that point, you just slit it open. So we go back to that when we are about to sew. So the next thing now is to cut out the sleeve. Both for the front and the back. So I folded the fabric, then fold over again. Now this is the starting point. All I did is to measure. I want the length of the sleeve to be 15 because there is elastic at the lower part, which is totally optional. So because there is elastic there, I just added extras 2 to make it 17 for it. Then the cap's height is 3 inches for her. So having done that, now we can insert half of our armhole measurement. So for adults, you do it the same way. For instance, if I want the length of my sleeve to be 23, Then my calf's height will be 4.5, and then make a line. So that's the same thing. Then the next thing, half of the armhole for her, it is 6 inches. So because I added ease on the bust area, I'll make it 7 plus half inch seam allowance, like we left 8. Yeah, sorry, 7.5. So having done that, I will connect the edge here. Get the middle, 8.25. Then you go up by half an inch. Good. So from that point, I'll connect to the edge here. So since we are using the same armhole, I won't differentiate the front from the back. So having done that, the next thing is to go back to your pattern. You need to determine where you want the coat shoulder to sleeve to join the armhole here. So depending on how much skin you want to show, so let me just make it 3.5. So at that point, I'm going to notch it because it has to match. The next thing is to take the measurement of whatever I have there. That's 4 inches. 4 inches. Then I will take that 4 inches and measure that here. So 4 inches is here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to determine this part. How low. We've determined where we want the sleeve to join the armhole now. The next thing is to determine this coat shoulder sleeve, how low you want it to be. So you could just measure it on yourself. So like for me, I could make it 5 inches, 4 inches. That is, you could take the calf's height or just go down by a little half or even more. It doesn't have a standard. So for instance, let me just make it a little below the calf's height. So the next thing is to connect it. Then for the lower part, if you want it without the elastic, all you have to do is to take your wrist measurement and place it here, half of that. But since it is elastic, I'm just going to deduct 1 inch from this 7.5, which will be 6.5. I'll just leave it straight, because the elastic is going to give you the shape. So this is what the sleeve looks like. You see? So this point is going to join here. So when you sew it here, so this part will become the coat shoulder. By the time we sew it up, it will take shape. First thing we are going to do is to join the shoulder. This is the back. So all you have to do is to make sure right side are facing each other. And then I'm just going to take in 1/4 inch at the shoulder region. After doing that, I'm going to use a bias strip to finish up the neckline. So when you're making use of the bias strip, the first thing you have to do is to first use a bias strip to finish up these slitted parts. So before joining the shoulder at all, take a bias strip. I'll be making use of the same fabric. Then I'm just going to take 1/4 inch and then sew it up. You can put the loop if you want to put that before you sew that. After that, then I can join it by the shoulders. Use the bias strip to finish the slits, as you can see that. And before attaching it at all, I made sure I attach the loop to it before using the bias strip. You can make use of facing if you don't find this easy. So on the right side, this is what it looks like. So a button will be here, and note, you will see I came down by 1/2 inch because I'm still going to use the bias strip to finish the neckline. The next thing I'm going to do now is to join it by the shoulder. Just join it by the shoulder, 1/4 inch on both sides, and use my bias strip to finish it all around. I have finished up the neckline. Can you see how that looks? So at the back, this is what it looks like. And you see, so a button will be placed here. So it's as easy as that. Then for a beginner, I would advise you to make use of facing. The next thing now is to just turn it to the wrong side. For the side, we left 1/2 inch seam allowance on the sleeve and the dress itself. So I'm going to sew in 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and then I can hem the lower part. Now also going to the sleeve. This is what it looks like. Can you see that? So the next thing I'm going to do is to turn it to the wrong side this way, and then sew in 1/2 inch, because that was what we. Can you see that? So on the sides, you see, just 1/2 inch, and I give the good press. Also for the sleeve, can you see I've sewn the side? Can you see that? So this is the coat shoulder part. The next thing we are going to do now is this. This is the part that will be attached to the armhole. So just make sure the side seam on the sleeve and the side seam on the dress matches. So after doing that, so you're going to sew it to wherever it stops on the armhole. So you sew it this place continuously, and then here. After attaching the sleeve, this is what I have. You might look at it that is looking a bit awkward. You don't need to worry at all. When I put it on the mannequin, you see how the beautiful coat shoulder will form. So having done that, now the next thing is to make the ruffles we have on this coat shoulder. So all I did was to measure whatever I have here. So that's 9 inches. So let's just say 10. So that will be ×2, because it is actually 2, because I just place it on each other. So that means total of 20. So all I did was to just double that measurement. Since all around is 20, I'm just going to make it 40, because I want to pleat just little, just to be like, you know, make the ruffle look so beautiful. So since all around is 20, here I have 40. So can you hear? So that's about 22. So here I have 44. So this 44 is for one part, and another 44 for one part. You could do ×3 depending on how much ruffles you need. So the next thing I'm now going to do on this strip of fabric is first to just sew up 1/2 inch. And after doing that, I'm now going to hem the lower part, just 1/4, folding 1/4, then another 1/4, just taking half. Then you might be wondering about the height of the strip. I made it 2 inches. So this is 2 inches, because at the end of the day, I want to have 1.5. So I want the ruffle to stop here, just 1.5. So, but I cut out height of 2 inches by 44. So I will take to the sewing machine now, close each end, and then hem the lower part that will be on the outer part. Strip ready, and one side has been hemmed. So that side is going to be towards the inner part, because we want to have something like this. So the hem part is going to be towards the side. So how do we work on that? So all you have to do is to take this, just place one side, and you see right side on the right side of the fabric, pin it down, take the other end, place it on the part of the sleeve, pin it down. You can take this middle part, place it at the armhole region, pin it down. The same thing here. Good. So this is what I have. Now I'll have to go to the sewing machine. This is it. And then I'll start sewing from here. Then I will have to pleat randomly. Can you see? Can you see that? So it could either be a knife pleat or a box pleat. So can you see how beautiful that is? So that is how I'm going to walk through it from the beginning of the shoulder, going through and then forming pleats around the cold shoulder. It makes sense now. So I just make box pleats all around. So beautiful. So I'm sure the cold shoulder is taking shape, and you can see that now. And you see, so beautiful. The next thing you have to get ready is your bias strip. Having done that now, you just have to take one part. We want to finish the bias strip on the outside. Do you understand that? So what you do now is this: get your bias strip, just fold it because you don't want to have a raw edge outside. So having folded it, make sure the right side of the bias strip is facing the wrong side of the dress. Can you see? This is the right side. So you can just start from around the armhole or from the shoulder, anywhere. Just pick a point, match it up. Right side of the bias facing the wrong side of the dress. So you're just going to sew it exactly on when you added the seam allowance. Where you sew where you sew up the ruffles to it. Can you see? So that's what you are going to have. Then I'm now going to sew it all around, exactly on the seam, all around. I'm just going to go there and then stop wherever I started. So that's what I'm going to do for now. So this is where it stopped. I will have to cut that off. We folded initially, so that's going to cover up the raw edges of this. So this is what it looks like on the inside. So the next thing I'm now going to do is, starting from that point whereby I started, so you make sure that folded part covers it up. So this is the folded part initially. So all you have to do now is fold in 1/4 inch, and then you now have to fold it over the, okay, this is the raw edges. Can you see? So this is the bias strip. So we want it covering this and finishing it on the outside. So just fold in 1/4 inch. Can you see that? And then you just cover it down. So this is what we want to have. Can you see? Keep covering it. See, so keep 1/4 inch, then you cover it up. So can you see how beautiful the finishing is? So that is how I'm going to keep folding to cover up the raw edges. Can you see? It's ready, and you can see how beautiful it looks. You can see the ruffle sitting so well. So by the time you put it on, the cold shoulder shows so much. I have added elastic to the sleeve, which is totally optional. I've hemmed the lower part also. So if this tutorial has been helpful, please give me a giant thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I remain your girl, Bilikis.